Unless you have a specific affinity for Spanish from a certain place or a personal connection to a particular place or region, I think it makes sense to learn the Spanish that is closest to where you are geographically or where there are speakers closest to you, where those speakers are from. So if you live in the Americas, it probably makes sense to focus on Latin American Spanish. If you live in Europe, it probably makes sense to focus on Spanish from Spain. And if you live somewhere else in the world, it probably makes sense to learn the variety of Spanish that has the greatest number of speakers near where you live or that are accessible to you online. So that's really the short answer. So if you got what you needed, I will see you in the next video. Otherwise, if you want some more detail and a little bit more background around the different regional varieties of Spanish and how that affects you, stick around because I'm going to dive into that. So here's the longer answer. If you're a beginner, it doesn't really matter which variety of Spanish you go with. Of course, like any language, there are regional differences, but in Spanish, they're not that crazy. So as long as two speakers from two different countries are not using tons and tons of slang or speaking incredibly fast, they shouldn't have any trouble understanding one another. And the same thing goes for you as you improve your Spanish. The differences mainly come down to pronunciation and vocabulary. Let's take a look at a couple of the big markers of Spanish pronunciation and dialects across the world. First, for example, is in places like the Caribbean, Chile, and Andalusia in Spain. These places are known for dropping letters, in particular S's and D's. So, for example, todas las casas can become toda la casa. Another well-known example among Spanish speakers and Spanish learners is the C and Z sound in Spain, most of Spain really, and how it's pronounced with a kind of a TH sound.
A veces íbamos al cine.
Another feature of Spanish from Spain is that the J and G sound in a word like Jorge is a little bit harsher or a little bit stronger than it is in other countries. In particular, in the Caribbean, it's a lot more like an H. You might say Jorge, but in Spain, it sounds a little bit more like Jorge. So the H sound is a little bit stronger.
Jorge Luis Borges.
Jorge Luis Borges.
Another big regional difference in Spanish is that in Argentina and Uruguay, the double L and the Y pronounced as J or Sh, depending on the speaker. So instead of está lloviendo, we have está lloviendo. Or instead of la calle, we have la calle. Another question you might be wondering in your quest to figure out which type of Spanish you should be learning is, what is the easiest Spanish? The reality is that there's not really one particular Spanish that I can tell you that is guaranteed to be the easiest. Really, it depends on the speaker. You know, a clear speaker from any country can be pretty easy to understand. And on the other hand, a speaker from any country or any region could also be really difficult to understand. So given the wide variety of ways that people speak, the very best thing you can do as a learner is listen to as many people as possible from as many different places as possible. One of the best places to do this at the earlier stages or intermediate stages is on a YouTube channel called Easy Spanish, where they interview people from all over the place. And at the later stages, or once you're a little bit more advanced, there's a podcast called Radio Ambulante from NPR, which I've also talked about in another video, which has really interesting long-form stories that deep dive into a particular topic and talk to people from all over the Spanish-speaking world. So Easy Spanish and Radio Ambulante are both excellent resources to help you practice and make sure you don't only understand one variety of Spanish and then get stuck when you try to speak or listen to somebody from a place that you're not as familiar with. So with all that said, I'll just leave you with this one kind of parting thought, and that is, when you're starting out, just pick a main variety of Spanish. You don't have to worry about all the regional differences or country by country differences. Just pick Latin American Spanish or Spanish from Spain. You can pick that based on your interests and goals or based on geography, based on what's more practical to where you are physically. Then over time, your Spanish is going to evolve based on your interests and needs and the people that you know or the people that you meet. If you end up spending a lot of time with people from a specific country, you know, if you make a lot of friends from the Dominican Republic, you're going to naturally develop Dominican idiosyncrasies in your Spanish and pick up some of the vocabulary and unique ways of speaking from that country. But that's not something that you want to force or really even worry about at the very beginning. Instead, listen to people from as many different places as possible, consume as much Spanish as you possibly can, Spanish content from all over the world, and your ears will start adjusting to all the different sounds, and you'll get better and better at it. After a little bit of adaptation and getting used to some new sounds, you won't have any trouble making yourself understood or understanding other people. Let me know in the comments which variety of Spanish you really like, or which one you are planning on learning, or which one you are currently learning. I'd love to know. If you like this video and you want more tips to help you with your Spanish, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want even more, you can go to breakthroughspanish.com, where I have a free course to help you learn some of the basics in conversational Spanish in the next 5 days. So take a look at that if you're interested. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.